You follow what I'm saying? What should I do? Should I tell you to leave the hospital and put the babies in the hands of the Yahudi, the Jew or the Christian? Or should I tell you to stay there, you follow that, and receive the babies in Mutakhir? They had that also. Muslims were allowed to do things like that, to go amongst the camp. Salahuddin, you know who Salahuddin was? Of the crusade? Huh? How do you think Salahuddin was able to deceive the king? He lived with him, ate with him, cured him of his sickness and everything. How do you think he was able to deceive him into thinking he was not a Muslim if Salahuddin had to pray 5 times a day in front of the king? How? Huh? He had to pretend that he was not a Muslim. You understand that? To make the point. Read about the Crusades, you see it. It has happened in the history of Islam. But if you ain't got that as an excuse, then you better be in the dress of the Prophet Muhammad. Otherwise, you're going to be classified as Masjid al-Dajjal's followers. If you think that your living here is to make money and survive and get rich, then you have went over to become a follower of Dajjal. You're doing the exact same thing the outer world is doing right now, selling out Allah Ta'ala. Here's that Mecca. Right now, Mecca is a business proposition. It's who got the money. And Rasulullah told us in the last day, he said, my people are going to make Hajj just because they can afford it. I met Muslim brothers in Mecca. I walk up to them. I say, Salaam alaikum. I say, wa alaikum salam. I say, Anta min way. Min aina. Say, huh? Min fayn anta. Go to dialect. Huh? Where you from? American. That's the kalam Arabic? You don't speak Arabic? No. How are you going to perform the rites? Or have a mutawa? This man, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a man who performs the rites for you for Hajj. So you go all the way up and spend all your money, and you're going to come back now, you're not Hajj. You're not Hajji. You just went on a vacation. That's what the Prophet Muhammad said when he said, my followers will get to the point where they're walking up to Mecca. A lot of Americans walk around, I'm Hajji this, I'm Hajji that. They don't even speak the language. They couldn't have made the rights because they can't even read Arabic. And no one can do it for you. If a man can make Hajj for you, then a man can make Salah for you. I said, listen, I can't make Maghrib. You make Salah through Maghrib for me today. I can't make it. Nobody can make Hajj, but Hajj is a prayer. I don't know where they came up with this new thing with the mutawaf. That means the men who run around and lead people. Half of them are not even Muslims. This is what you're up against. We have decided here what a Muslim is, what a Muslim believes in, how a Muslim should dress. I'll take you to the Injil, how Isa foretold you're coming, how you are here. What are you waiting for?
If paradise is elevating to other galaxies, then what and where is hell?
Okay. Hell is where you will make it. Hell, the Quran has many dimensions of the word for hell in Arabic. They have words from sir to luth. They have many words, and each one of them describe the state of mind that people are going to put themselves in. Okay? Very rarely do you find the word makana, place. Hawiya, the bottomless pit, merely means a boundless place. That's more interpreted in Arabic as eternally than anything. Now, when we say that heaven is planes, we're talking about states of growth emotionally. Planes are not merely places. Places and things deal with nouns and physical objects that have to do with, like I mentioned earlier, the motion of molecules on the physical plane, right? Matter. When you start speaking about the planes emotionally and man elevating to those planes, we're talking about his spiritual growth and the speed in which his etheric body transforms into a spiritual body and into a soul force. And at the rate it's moving, he'll begin to vibrate on different levels. The same way, this room, the room you're sitting in, the light can become so bright until your octave nerves will cut off. That does not mean the light is not there. It means it got so bright that you can no longer take it. It will just block out your ability to see. Man has to elevate again back to those states, and depending on his spiritual growth will determine what he as a spiritual being will create in his environment that Allah Ta'ala refers to as Jannah in the Quran, the garden. He doesn't call it a place, he calls it a garden, and describes things that people on a physical plane can identify with. Rivers flowing in green grass and couches laid for man, because to describe a spiritual state to physical people is next to impossible. So he has to give you likenesses on the physical plane that you can identify with. You follow that?
Oh, right.
And hell is an abode where people are going to judge themselves by their sins, not for their sins. And hell resides deep down in the essence of each individual. You give yourself hell when you do wrong and know it's wrong.
How does it compare to the last day or the day of standing?
Okay.
Could you put that in relation?
In the Quran, Allah Ta'ala, in the Holy Quran, Allah Ta'ala teaches us that there are 3 stages of the end. The first being Yawm al-Din. Yawm al-Din, the day of Dunun, the day when people will be questioned about things, judgment. The next one Allah Ta'ala uses is Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yawm al-Qiyamah. The word Qiyamah comes from the Arabic word kum, to stand up or to rise up. Not ba'atha, to resurrect, but kum, to just stand up physically. Okay, to erect yourself. And the last one is called Yawm al-Akhri. Yawm al-Akhri. The word Akhir means the final or the end. Man must pass through these 3 stages before he has totally become godlike again. Or, when we have it, one with Allah. That means, after his domain on the physical plane, the first thing is Yawm al-Din. Or Yawm al-Qiyamah, I should say. The day when he will come back as a sun-dried body, or a spiritual body, the Quran says, and stand to be judged. Yes, the first one is Yawm al-Qiyamah, to rise up, whether he's dead or alive, and in a spiritual form, go before the Ursh Allah, the throne of Allah Ta'ala, and at that point, he'll start Yawm al-Din, the day when his records will be passed from Sijin or Ilyon, the 2 places mentioned in the Quran as the prison or the exalted abode, where the records and deeds of mortals are kept. You follow?
Yeah.
Then, after that record is passed to him in either his right hand from the front, from Ilyon, or his left hand from the back, from Sijin, then he goes to Yawm al-Akhir. Yawm al-Akhir in the Holy Quran is equivalent to the second death in the book of Revelations. What do I mean by the second death? Man dies here, then starts his judgment. And then as a spiritual being, whether or not he will go into Jannah, eternal salvation in the presence of the bosom of Allah Ta'ala, the Quran says, wherein he will reside khaliduna, eternally, based on what you call time on earth. Or will he be cast into the pit with Satan and the likes of him? You follow? Which will be his second death. If he's cast into a pit, that's a second death, where he will reside with Satan and his. Because remember, Satan as an angel cannot be destroyed. He's an angel of light. Him and his host of beings and the stones of Sijin will make up the tormentation that you believe in your mind is hell, and thus will project yourself into for suffering. Not you per se, but people. All right? Keep questioning. Do you get it out your mind totally?
Yeah, I'm still a little confused with this, because you can live through this life and pass on. So my question is, how do you get through these different stages, or can we all get through these stages here?
They're growth stages. See, most people have lived many times before. Right? The scriptures confirm that Elish was Yahya, that John the Baptist was the return of Elijah, and that Moses and Elijah appeared to Isa on the mount in front of him. You follow that? These spiritual beings. The scriptures from the Quran, straight back to the Injil, to the Torah, confirms the presence of angels in the form of men that incarnate to human beings like when the angel Jibreel, salam alaikum wa rahmatullah, appeared before Rasulullah Muhammad in the cave in Laylatul Qadr to give him the revelations of Al-Quran al-Kareem, right? And he also, Jibreel, appeared to Maryam, the mother of Jesus, to tell her the announcement of the birth of the Messiah, Jesus ibn Maryam, the son of Mary, correct? So we have records in the Holy Scriptures, be they the Torah, the Injil, or the Quran, or the Zabur, of supernatural beings appearing in the form of human beings to converse and interact even to the point of breaking bread and supping with mortals. And the Hadith confirms it when it mentions Jibreel coming to the Prophet Muhammad in the 40 Hadith. So we have records that there is life beyond this life throughout all of the Scriptures. Insofar as this being Gabriel was with Abraham at one point, Moses at another point, Mary at another point, and Muhammad at another point, and we're talking 5,000 years. All right? And they always come with the same message. That man has to realize that he is one with the universe. He is one with the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and must raise himself back to that state so that he can go back to where these beings came from. These beings, angels as they call them, are coming from some abode to deal with mortals. And they're saying that you mortals want to get back to that abode. So the answer to your question is, there are levels of aspiration that men have to go through when they can make a transition from a mortal being to an immortal being. When they can let the spiritual self dominate the physical self and prepare their inner being for that journey back to wherever these beings come from. Of course, there's an answer, but to keep taking the subject deeper and deeper, just to say to wherever they come from, wherever Gabriel, the angel, comes from, and Uriel and Raphael and Michael, wherever they come from is where you're trying to get back to, and obviously came from if they said that man was placed on earth from someplace. Took the man and placed him in the garden. If they placed you in the garden, they brought you from somewhere. And that place is where you're trying to get back to. Yes, it is possible, but it calls for application, discipline, and obedience. Some of the things that the devil taught human beings not to do. To apply themselves to the best of their ability, to obey and be obeyed. They can't take instructions because everybody, since the beginning of Genesis, is suffering from a God complex. When the devil said that he does know that in the day you eat thereof, your eyes shall be open and you shall be as gods. Now everybody you meet thinks they understand the Scriptures, thinks they got a monopoly on its meaning. Everybody wants to be the God. Instead of admitting they don't know and sitting down and be instructed so they can make it, everybody tries to interpret it themselves because their ego dominates their divinity.
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم صدق الله العظيم.
And now, listen to the Supreme Grand Master, Naya Malachi Zoduk L.
Every time the world reaches a point of consciousness, spiritual consciousness, they have to come up with some type of tactic to make you go, oh, okay. The hip-hop generation stepped in, popped out this doctrine, this philosophy, this music, and it frightens everybody. It frightens everybody, including them. But out of that chaos, there's coming a certain amount of awareness. These kids are now starting to talk about the conditions that's taking place. The death of Tupac is a symbol to them. You follow? They're starting to realize some of you people are taking this business a little too serious. The whole hip-hop thing is a business. We're making money. We're playing games. We're not real gangsters. You want to meet the real gangsters, go to Sicily. You meet real gangsters. You don't think there's no real gangsters. I know guys don't think they're real gangsters out there. So now what they got out of hand is a couple of kids, a couple of fathers, a couple of sons, a couple of brothers have lost their lives. And it's gotten quiet. But there's an awareness amongst all of them. This new doctrine is able to get these kids to stop killing each other. Because when we meet here on Savior's Day, if you're here for the 4 days, you're going to see all the groups here. Groups that would normally be rivaling against each other. They would hate each other. For no reason other than they wear a different color head rag, I think they say. Or one does this, which is normally a reptilian symbol. And the other's doing this. I don't know what they're doing. I didn't see that movie. But they'll all be here on Savior's Day together as a family. So somebody said, see them Milwaukee's up there? Yeah. They don't drink. Wait, I take that back. We do drink. We do watermelon, soda, wine, beer, but we don't get drunk. Correct? We don't smoke any kind of drugs. Any kind of drug. You understand that? We're not polygamists. We're not Muslims. We don't have hundreds of wives. If you still have hundreds of wives, the next answer is you got to cut it out. We're not having it anymore. And I say, if men could have more than one wife, then women can have more than one husband. No more women walking behind men, shut up and you shut up. When a man says shut up, say why, and then prepare to go. But stand up. It's time to stand up. This is what we teach. Now, what's starting to happen is we appeal to the younger generation for some reason. The following day, we open our doors by opening my mind and heart to reach out to the 5% and say, let me take your book that you have been sitting on since 1960-something and doing nothing with, and the kids are only going from little bits of rhetoric, so they don't have a full understanding of what's in those so-called 1 to 20 or plus lessons. So, being you can't afford to do it, or just don't want to do it, let me put the book in one cover so every 5%, or God, they got 8 sects now, every one of them can have a copy of it. So maybe they can see that we're not that different than they are. But as long as they got a couple of fanatical leaders who want to control their congregation, this is our biggest problem, control of the congregation. They're afraid that their followers might come to me. And if I wanted their followers to come over to me and not be 5%, I wouldn't put up a 5% flag. I'm saying if you're 5%, that's what you believe in, you can still be a part of the Milwaukee family. But we ain't into. We're not getting caught up on the religious practice. Because nobody can confirm religion. Nobody. You cannot prove to me that there's a God. You can go over a whole bunch of philosophical bull crap. But I said, prove to me, I know there's a God because He created me. That's it. Evolution beats the hell out of that. Quantum physics beats the hell out of evolution and instant creation. And I'm saying, they can't do it. And that's the problem. Because they can't do it, there's an emotional trap. The moment I can't verify or justify what I believe in, the next thing I want to do is hit you. I regress back to an elephant, or a gorilla, or a bull. You know what I'm saying? That's why we went out there with so many questions at people. But I did not go out there with questions before I did 25 years of questioning. I did 25 years of standing up in front of people in New York City, opened the doors and said, come in and ask me anything you want to prove what I'm saying wrong. If you do, I say, I'll follow you. All I want to do is change the conditions because I see the babies. I'm saying Marvin Gaye's record was deep. Kids, change the world, that was deep. Now, that record, if you protect us, that's a very heavy message. That's all I was concerned with. So I did that for the 5%. You with me? The subtotal comes down to most people don't know what they're talking about. The first criteria for dealing with a Muslim is, do you speak Arabic? If not, then stop using Arabic. If you don't speak the language of the Quran, then give it up. And then that doesn't mean you understand it, because I know many Muslims who speak Arabic and don't understand the Quran. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many Muslim sects. If they all understood it just by virtue of the fact that they know Arabic, then all of them would have the same belief. There wouldn't be so many Sunni, Shia, Ahmadiyya, Baha'i, and on and on and on. Wouldn't it? Right. So we, as a people, are vulnerable because we're like a baby mind. And because we're riding off of I've been abused. That's what we use. I've been abused. The white man abused me. So we're looking for any way to get even, like Gaddafi. So we like to join anything so I can tell them go, black. and hope that the average white person goes, oh, that's so terrible. You go black on, the average white person goes, that's black power. I mean, they're not as involved in the black power thing as you are. Keep on saying, they don't care about, black power, black, right on.